In this episode I will take a closer look at this Gripen kit from Revell. And I will also show what it looks like when it's built. Hello everyone and welcome to this inbox review of the Revell 172 scale SAAB JAS-39C Gripen. This is a kit that came out in 2014. It was from a brand new tooling from Revell, and I remember this because this was when I just got back to the hobby, and this was, I think, the second kit that I built back then. And I will show you the resulting model later on in the review. It's not my finest work, but on the other hand, it's very easy to spot all the fit issues and problems with the kit because I didn't manage to solve them. Okay, so if we start with the box art and the gift box, we see that on the front here we have the Czechoslovakian aircraft from Tiger Meet in 2014. And in the kit there's also the Swedish alternative, or the Swedish Air Force version. That was one of the aircraft that participated in the red flag training in 2013. That was. So yeah, kit number 04999, and on the side here we have some. This is actually the built-up model. Looks very nice, much better than I did. On the side here we have some kit information, and likewise here. Yeah, and this is on this side is the same. On the back side we have some advertisement for other kits from Revell. So okay, so let's open up the box and see what's inside. It's the usual side opening box, as you can see. And we have decals, clear parts, 1, 2, 3, 4 sprues, and the assembly instructions. Okay, let's start with the main sprue. If we start in this end, we have the underside of the main wing. There are some details, some panel lines and as such. Very thin panel lines. And we have the canards and the flaps. Both are poseable, which is nice. And we have the air intake splitters. I will talk a little bit more about them later on when we will discuss fit issues. Main gear bay compartment, and there are a little bit of detail there, but I guess that you can always add something more if you want. We have the main landing gear doors, and we have the engine and nose cone, and the nose cone is a single part, which is very nice. And I really like that that Revell didn't make a cross here over to improve the flow of the plastic, because that is always difficult to clean out. And I think the details on the exhausts looks really nice. The details are of course a little bit thick at the end, but I guess that is what aftermarket is for, right? You had to replace that with resin or build up the petals using photo etch instead. So okay, so we have sides of the air intakes, air brakes, and I saw on the air brakes that there is a small sink mark, but I don't think that is an issue, because when the aircraft is geared down, sitting on the ground, the air brakes are almost every time they are closed, so they are basically only open when the aircraft is braking in the air or during landing. Okay, so we have a small antenna, we have the IP coaming and parts for the ejection seat. And there are some really tiny parts here. I think those are antennas, and maybe that is for the throttle or something like that in the in the cockpit tub. Okay, moving on to the upper side of the wings. Again, very thin panel lines, and of course in a modern aircraft like this, everything is made from composite materials anyway, so I mean nothing is really bolted on or riveted anymore. And except the excess panels, of course. And here we have the tail fin. There is a strange cutout here. The secondary pitot tube is sort of built into one part of the on the tail fin here. So I don't know why they have done it like that. Maybe it's because there are another version of the kit that they are planning that has a little bit different. I haven't checked up on the resources there. Okay, so here we have the lower part of the rear fuselage, and there are some details inside the air brake compartments. So if you choose to open up the air brakes, then you can paint this white and add some washers. That will look nice. And we also have a reconnaissance capsule or pod. Yeah, that's it, I think. I think I have covered. Yeah, there are some small parts, bits and bobs here. So we have the refueling probe, if you want to have the refueling that extended. I think if you put the aircraft on the ground, it looks a little bit silly to do that, but hey, maybe they they do it like that on the ground where they do service. Okay, so yeah. So it's packed in a regular poly bag with just some tape to put everything together. Okay. Alright, so here we have the front part of the fuselage with some details here with the air splitter. And I think there is the compartment for the refueling probe, if you want to attach that. And we have the cockpit tub, some small details Also on there is an avionics rack behind the ejection seat, and you can do a lot here to improve that, I think. Yeah, at least you can add some wires and stuff. Okay, so we have this is the I was wondering what this was. This is behind the cockpit. There is a small cover behind the canopy, and we have I think that is more parts for the for the avionics bay, and we have a near nose gear compartment, and the Mauser gun. Yeah, looking nice, I think. And we have two identical sprues with weapons. And we have some drop tanks, and this is an anti-ship missile, RB-15F, I think it's called. And we have an AMRAAM, an Iris-T, and Sidewinder 9, AIM-9X. Yeah. And we have one wheel for the nose landing gear and the landing gear. And we have the clear parts packed in a separate poly bag. Okay, on the canopy we have a small seam line here, but that is easy to remove. And we have some really small navigation lights. Windscreen, I think, looks okay. These are the I think these are the headlights on the main landing gear, and these guys here are the navigation lights on the sides of the air intakes. And here's the HUD. And there's something really tiny. I don't remember what that was. Okay, so yeah, I think it looks good. You have to remove a seam line on the top of the canopy, but that is quite easy to do. Okay, the decals comes wrapped in this. I think it's a safety leaflet. And we have most of the decal sheet is of course occupied with this artwork for the Czechoslovakian version, and you can see the Czechoslovakian markings, and here are the Swedish ones. Yeah, there's really not much, not a lot of stencils really. It's very little. Mostly the marking. Most stencils are for the weapons, and I guess these are for the pylons. There are a couple of decals for the instrument panel and the side panels, and And yeah, that's a bit boring with modern aircraft. They don't have any, not so many fun markings and stuff. Everything is grey, basically. Okay, yep, but the decals look quite nice. Designed by Decals. So I have no idea where they are manufactured though, or made. Printed in Czech Republic. Yep. So if we look at the assembly instruction, on the first page we have a photo of the built up model and some information about the aircraft and some safety and general information about the about building models, and to decipher all the icons that I used. And as you can see, this is the sort of traditional, the old style assembly instructions with which can be, I think, quite confusing at times. There are a lot of steps and a lot of information and all these funny icons with information that is really not making any sense. I think, but yeah, that's how it is nowadays. The Revell instructions are with the color ones. They are much better. Yep, we have a paint call out for paints, Revell paints, of course. And if we start looking at the assembly steps, we start with the cockpit, put that together, and as far as I can see, there are no issues until we arrive here, where we fit the air splitter and the outside of the air intake here. The fit is quite poor, so you have to do a lot of work to fill and sand this area. I remember. And after that you attach the avionics bay, or and there is a small, this is a vent, I think, for the avionics bay. And then you put the rear fuselage halves together with the engine. And it's very nice that they have that exhaust is possible to attach at the end of the build, like this. So you can paint that and weather that separately. Okay, so before we attach the wings, we have to insert the gear base. And then we can assemble the flaps. Here you have the air brakes, and I mentioned that earlier, that they had a small sink mark, but the biggest problem is actually that the fit is very bad. There are huge gaps when you put this in, and it's not it really doesn't snap sort of in place. You have to I think I had to pad it with some strip styrene or something, just to make it get into the correct position. I'm sure I had to do something to fix that. And as you can see here, you can select if you want to have open or closed air brakes. And yeah, here we have the main landing gear, and you can attach that late in the build, and that is a good thing, I think. Gear bay doors on both sides, and we have the nose landing gear. You can also do some detailing here as well. And we have the front hatch with a small light or headlighting, or landing light, I think it is. And you can, yeah, here's another thing. The kit part is it's one piece, so you have to cut it into 3 parts if you want to have build it with the gear down, with the landing gear doors open, which is a little bit what can I say, yeah, they could have done that as separate parts. I think it's a bit cheap to have to do it like this. Alright, so we have the nose cone and the pitot tube with the vortex generators here at the front. And here you have the attachment for the refueling probe. And this is another problem area in the kit, actually, because if you don't want to use this and you want to add the door like that, it doesn't really fit, and worst of all, there is no location tabs or anything for it, so it will just drop right into the fuselage. So you have to pad it with sort of with a piece of the sprue or a strip styrene or something, just to because it's kind of not fitting at all. It will just sit in air, so to speak. So that is a difficult area to take care of if you don't want to have the refueling probe extended. Okay, so we have some small navigation lights. That was probably the small clear parts that I couldn't recognize what they were. And here you see that secondary pitot tube that you attach to the tail wing, or vertical stabilizer. And you have to drill some holes if you want to add, yeah, this is for the antennas. So it's actually, yeah, I don't know why they couldn't do it better. I mean, they could have made some kind of divel or marking on the inside where you are supposed to drill the holes, so you can drill the holes from the inside out, and instead of have to measure the 3.9 millimeter and 1.8 millimeter. And I think that you will probably, if you want to detail that properly, you will probably have to scratch build those antennas anyway, and also add some additional IFF antennas and stuff like that, because those are not included in the kit, if I remember correctly. Alright, so then we move on to the cockpit area with the HUD and windscreen and some fins on the side here and an antenna. Yeah, assembly of the canopy if you want to have it open or closed. And then we have the various weapons and loadouts. And this is also a very funny thing. where you have to carve out parts depending on the loadout, but yeah, that's how they have done it. So let's just accept that. And here you can see the different configurations for different tasks that the aircraft have. Okay, so here we have this is the Czechoslovakian version from the Tiger Meat, and here we have the Swedish version, the individual that went to one of them that went to Nellis Air Force Base and participated in Red Flag in 2013. And we have some additional decal callouts for the weapons. Okay, so what do I think about this kit? I think it's this is the in 1/72 scale. This is the most accurate Gripen that you can get. And I remember when I started to build this, I was a little bit disappointed about all the fit issues and things like that. Especially since it was a brand new tool, and I had I struggled a lot with it. I remember, but nowadays I think that I can manage a kit like this without too much problems, and that is actually the reason why I bought this kit again, because I wanted to make a sort of have a second go at it when I got a little bit better at scale modeling. It's not a shake and bake kit, really. There are parts that are really nice and nice details, but there are some fit issues as well that you have to deal with. And but I think I would still recommend it. There are quite nice what should I say, loadout, or the kit contains a lot of weapons and a reconnaissance pod and drop tanks. I think what is missing maybe is the Lightning 3 pod. So you have to get off the market for that if you want to add that to the aircraft. I've done that on the kit that I built back in the day. Alright, so do I recommend it? Yes, but be aware that you have to spend some time filling and sanding when you build it. But in the end it will end up in a great looking Gripen. Okay, so I promised to show I think this was the second model that I built after I got back to the hobby back in 2014. Yeah, the things that I wanted to show are first the area around the air intakes on the upper side where the refueling probe is. As you can see here, there are a lot of funny things going on. You can see there are a couple of really pronounced seam lines still left, and yeah, I didn't know how to solve that back then. So that's the way it is. And also you can see the we have the I was mentioning the air intake and the air splitter. Actually, I think I did a pretty good job after all. I remember that it looked really horrible, but it looked quite okay. You can see, I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but you can see there is some evidence of a seam line still. Yeah, and yeah, you can see it on the underside for sure. Yeah, it looks not so very nice. And when we are discussing seam lines, we have the air brakes. There's on the top side here, you can see that there's a huge gap. Not very nice, I think. And on this side it looks even worse. Yeah, that's how it is. And as you can see, I have I have the Iris T on the wingtip pylons and AMRAMs and fuel tanks and the reconnaissance pod. And I also had to add the Lightning 3 pod. I don't remember the designation for that now. That is from a Hasegawa weapon set, I think, and the decals are made up, sort of. They are they are not 100% accurate, I can say that. So yeah. And I also on the side here I added a ladder, photo etch ladder from Maestro models, I think it is. And I also tried to do some detailing in the avionics bay, but yeah, it can be done much better than that. So okay, another thing that I have to mention is that there are the panel lines on the top or the dorsal of the fuselage are a little bit weak in the kit. So if you want to add some washes or do some weathering there, you will probably have to rescribe them a little bit just to make them a little bit deeper, so it will pick up the wash. But don't overdo it, because this, as I said earlier, this is a modern aircraft with a lot of materials that are basically carbon fiber and other materials that are so there are not so many pronounced panel lines. So I hope that you have found this inbox review slash reveal interesting, and thanks for watching, and I see you in the next episode. Goodbye.